Met with Councilmember Gassick, and it was no business. We were just meeting, and she had attended the brief for the ALS, and she said, you should go the next night. So I went, but she said, it's really good, and the only thing we have to do is change the no voters. And I looked at her, and I said, you really don't understand, do you? There are no voters for ALS. There are no votes for ALS. There are no votes for shenanigans, executive shenanigans.
Any other questions, comments? Dave?
On the 2015 ALS calls, or total calls of 559, 45% were ALS. How many of them were actually transported? Do you have that information broken down anywhere? That should be put up there. That should be part of this.
And the majority of them are, but there are probably about, just off the cuff, looking at a month of calls, is probably about 10 to 15%.
Don't.
And a lot, sometimes, then you have to ask, were they AMA, which means they stayed at home against medical advice?
Right.
Or
No.
they refused treatment, or there was no patient. And as those three qualifiers range, it's even less that don't get transported.
That's what I'm asking is if you can make a slide with the actual data, all data. Now, that really doesn't tell you a whole lot, that slide. Doesn't explain a lot. If you're looking for money, that doesn't explain anything. That's purely an emotional slide.
Just remember that managing a program costs money too, not just the transports, but the infrastructure around it and the billing, that costs money. That's part of this levy as well, but that's not coming out of this levy. It's coming out of our general fund to manage those costs. Is that not correct?
Yes, that's correct.
Okay.
Savings to the taxpayers so far as when you get transported or when you receive a service. Is there something beyond what we've already discussed here, which is the waiving of the deductible or whatever it is? Is there something else that we can capitalize on in order to keep some of these costs down? For those that do get transported, that do receive the services, is there anything else out there that can assist in keeping the levy number down for those that actually do use the service instead of those that are just potentially going to use the service? Because many of our calls go to the same places over and over again. Right? I mean, we know where the services are used in town. I see you guys leave and hang a right all the time. Right? Because we know where it's going based on the numbers. So I just want to make sure that citizens, while it's going to be a service that they potentially can use, that those that are actually benefiting are shouldering their commensurate portion of the cost. So any ideas there?
There are ways to do that. Particularly with the high utilizer community. If you've got a high utilizer community, for example, an assisted living facility that is regularly using services, and working with those particular entities up front. I'm doing one right now with an entity that has very high utilization of services. And there's a breakover from the way that this one is going together is if there's a breakover point. If the 911 is called, units respond, and in many cases, what we see is that there's no transport associated with that. So at a certain percentage level of those, then that particular 911 call then generates a bill directly to the facility. So there are ways to do that and recoup some of those costs. That's getting into some pretty some more advanced ways of doing that, but it is certainly possible to do that with high utilizers. As far as just general public, there are some ways. So Pierce County, if you have Pierce County lands inside of your area that you respond to, you report back to Pierce County every year, and they cut a check based on how many calls. For example, inside of my jurisdiction, the Pierce County Fair is there. So, and then there's some other public utility areas inside that area. I've got a timber company inside of my district. So every time we go there, we keep a record of that, and then a bill is sent at a certain time because there's been pre-arrangements related to that. So there are ways to do that. That's not part of the levy system. Yeah, everybody's paying that particular price, but yes, there are ways to recoup additional funds, especially for high utilizers, and that's really where you tend to focus those things.
Is there a way to delineate between someone being transported that's a low acuity patient, maybe someone that is typically a higher utilizer, and someone that's actually needs emergent care? Is that possible? Because I think I would like to see someone pay for their care for a low acuity patient.
And that gets possibly. This group certainly didn't look at that particular thing, and I'm not an expert on that particular aspect. It's potentially possible. I know that there are some real requirements as it relates to how you treat individual patients differently when it comes to Medicare and Medicaid. So you have to be very careful about that. When you're talking about the 20% of your collectibles, which would be private insurance, and that's pretty standard numbers there. Those you can do lots of things with, but your Medicare and Medicaid patients that you're dealing with and billing, that has to be very standard. That's all set up by CMS billing, and treating those patients differently at any particular time, that can be construed as fraud, and those are big penalties and fines.
Assuming that this were to take place and we go with the 5-person option, how long for implementation? How long would it take you to hire all of that staffing? I've seen how long it takes to just replace one firefighter, and I know that people in this community, we tend to trend towards instant gratification when it comes to things of this nature. So what timeline would we be looking at?
If this is successful, we're at that process start, midnight that night, and we're already looking at ways to do that through civil service with testing processes. So it would take 2018 to build it up, with the goal of 2019 to be full service ALS.
Yeah, so it'll take a year to bring this online. If this, no, we've had the discussion because you got several things going on simultaneously. You have got to hire new people. You've got to train some of the people we've got, and the paramedic training and certification is a pretty lengthy process. And so we've already had some preliminary discussions that it's really going to be, no matter how you do it, it's going to take 2018 from 1 January where the tax would go into effect. The goal would be on midnight, the 31st of December, 2018, going to 2019, you flip the switch and you say we're now certified. Because the department has to become certified. So it isn't going to be an instantaneous process. It's going to take that time to build it.